Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the driver of the number 48 Chevrolet for Big Machine Racing in 2023. Of course, that's Parker Kligerman, as well as drives for Henderson Motorsports in the Truck Series, and of course, the pit reporter for NASCAR and NBC on your TV on Sunday. There we go. How's it going, Parker?
You made me realize I didn't have my hat on, so I need to get some sponsor promo in there. But Spiked Coors, yeah, no, say that again. It sounds great being the driver of the number 48 Spiked Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coors Chevrolet in the Xfinity Series, because I I don't know if like even 6 months ago I envisioned such a thing happening, but it has, and I can't wait to dive into it.
So I know you got a call from Scott Borchetta after you won the truck race at Mid-Ohio. When did the conversation start that you were going to go full time? The conversation's like, how would you like to go full time?
So the first conversation happened as we were walking out to the grid for my first race at Talladega, where he just simply asked if I would even be interested, or if I was even my goal in racing anymore and that sort of thing. And of course, I said yes with the right opportunity. And then we did the race. It was really good. It was almost seamless, is the word we use in terms of just working with Patrick Donahue and everyone, Keith Barnwell. It just was so easy. The whole team was just awesome. And so, it was probably a couple weeks later that Scott reached out and said, okay, do you want to do this? If it was possible, would you want to run full time for, and I said, yes, under one pretense, which is, if I do this, I want to be able to do it 110%. I want to be able to go for a championship. And he said, so do we. And so immediately our goals were aligned, and that's, what we're doing and working towards every day now. All the guys at the shop, Patrick Donahue, Keith Barnwell, everyone's working hard right now through this off season. We're, redoing a lot of cars, building new cars. We're going after it in a big way. And I'm, personally putting a lot of effort in my preparation, doing a lot of sim stuff, just even in this off season, physically, mentally, all these things I'm going to work on through this whole off season. And as we get into next year, because I just think this is a big opportunity. Right. And I don't know if I've ever had an opportunity of this magnitude in NASCAR. So this is the big one.
Yeah. So of course, Pat, just to also confirm, Patrick will be your crew chief again next year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Patrick Donahue. Yep.
And of course, and I believe Keith Barnwell will be your spotter next year.
He's the GM, man. He runs the place.
I mean, why not? Just had to get it out there. So going into this season and going into the Xfinity Series, you've been driving trucks. Of course, you've been a lot of experience in the Xfinity Series on pit road and all that stuff. But going into being in these cars, what are they like? What's it going to be like next year driving in these cars full time?
I think the Xfinity car is a really interesting car in terms of its level of downforce, compared to say like the truck or even the Cup car now. It's kind of found its unique place in the NASCAR's 3 Series and being something that sort of harkens back to a little bit of like what we believe to be a stock car for the last 30 years, right? And I think that's really kind of interesting to me. And I think if you look at the racing, that shows up, right? It often puts on really good races. The composite body was a great addition to the Xfinity Series, allowing you kind of get away with hits on the wall. And I think it's sort of like the perfect series in between Cup and trucks. And it's really got its own identity, which has been cool. And, I just love that. I love that it's what we have known to be a stock car for the last 30 some odd years, getting a chance to put on a show on Saturdays. And it's not easy. It's very competitive. You look at the names that have come through this series, you look at the ones that are still there, the ones that have made a career being there, the teams, the crew chiefs, just everyone in this series, it's a high level. It's a step up for sure. And I think, it requires a high level of dedication and talent and knowledge to succeed. So you got to have all those pieces in place, because these are big dollar race teams. This is not, when I think of the Xfinity Series, I think of the second biggest series in America, essentially, right? In terms of, it and IndyCar very close, right? And I think that's where you have to remember this is not just a a development series or a secondary series, it is, it's as a standalone product, it'd be a pretty intense series. And it would be a very good one. So I think that's something to remember this where this is at. But in terms of going back to your question about driving them, in the sim stuff, I've noticed they kind of drive how I thought they would. If that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it other than I look at them and I think that's how that should drive. And then it correlates to the sim stuff. So it's and that's something that really suits my style. Low downforce, a lot of power, a lot of making sure to keep the rear tires on it, being able to drive something very loose. That fits all my style.
Yeah. Did you ever think that this opportunity, like an opportunity like this, would ever come?
I was so close for the last 7 years,
Yeah.
8 years. You had to kind of envision it would at some point and what that would be like. And I thought last year, obviously, I had made it happen. That fell through. And so it's funny how the world works, right? Maybe when you least expect it is when it happens. And that's kind of where I was maybe just 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where I was preparing. We were working hard to try and make a full-time effort in trucks. I think there was a couple ways we were going to make it happen. Not just with the 75, maybe a combination deal between multiple teams and that sort of thing. There was a couple offers that wanted me to do it, but I wanted to be loyal to 75. So in Henderson Motorsports. And so I kind of was preparing to maybe have a similar schedule or at most be, running all the truck races. Right. And then, this came along and it sort of changed everything. Right. And that's when you have those moments in life where it's like, that's something that I don't know if it clicks in your brain or whatever, but you something comes along and you think, well, wait, that's it. Right. Like that's what I should be doing. And that's kind of how I felt about this opportunity. And it's just, since the day we started talking, I just feel like I've been gelling with the team really well, gelling with Scott Borchetta, Mark Borchetta's brother, the whole crew at Spice Coolers and Big Machine Vodka. The whole team is it just feels right. It feels like the place to be. And so we'll see if that makes sense. And I think going back to like answering your initial question, I guess it was always there in the back of your mind, but at some point you felt like you were going to have to make the choice for yourself, let alone or the sport was going to make it for you. And I feel like I got the chance for, once again, for me to make that choice, not the sport make it for me.
Yeah. And of course, you're still going to be on TV still on with the Cup races on Sunday. I mean, obviously you want to race full time in Xfinity, and obviously that's going to be your number one focus. But how much did you still want to do TV though?
Yeah, I would love to. I always want to just do it when I can be a value add to the broadcast, right? That's the thing. And I think when we look ahead to next year, myself and everyone at NBC will look at sort of where that works and where that schedule lines up. And then obviously some, liberties in that if I'm racing for a championship in the last couple of weeks, I might just focus on the racing, as you can imagine, because it's not fair either, to either side to not have full focus. So I don't think there's times, that's one big thing I've always tried to avoid. And I feel like I haven't hit this limit of understanding exactly where, the limit is in terms of how much of that I can do on one weekend. Right. And I've been able to mix the two so seamlessly for the last couple of years, even on the same day or, almost back to back to back. And it just takes a high energy level and sort of planning out your days and doing your preparation ahead of time. But it's never been where I felt either was suffering because of one or the other. Right. And that's just something I want to make sure I don't achieve, which is eventually one day thinking, oh, I didn't do that as well as I could have because, I was too spread thin. But that's something I definitely want to avoid. But, if I can be a value add, then I want to keep doing it, of course. And it's really, TV is for the fans, right? We're making a broadcast to educate and inform and cover these amazing races for the fans and the people that watch at home. And so if you feel like, if I feel like an NBC feels like I have something to offer, then, I look forward to doing that. But we'll see how it all works out. I mean, it's all going to be a work in progress, of course, right? Like I have 43 planned races for next year right now between trucks and Xfinity. I'm going to have a very busy schedule. Best way to put it.
So going into that and being with this team, Big Machine Racing, what kind of sold you that I want to go here, I want to run for a championship here?
I just think it was seeing the resources being put into it by Scott Borchetta and Spice Coors and Big Machine Vodka and the people he had assembled already with Keith Barnwell and Patrick Donahue and the team. In that I felt like, they obviously won a race with Tyler Reddick. They ran up front with multiple different drivers. We had a great run together. And I just feel like when I looked at this organization over the last couple of months, this is an organization that was way ahead of where they were in points, right? And is showing a lot more speed and a lot more ability than they were, able to show, as they had multiple drivers coming through the car, and that's a tough thing to do, right? So then, in talking to them and figuring out what the plans were for the future, and sort of just understanding what level of resources we had and being aligned with RCR in the way we are, I just felt like this is a team that's ready to take that next step into being a solid playoff contender, and hopefully be a championship contender come the round of the championship 4. So that's my goal. That's my bar. I think some will be, that's a bit of a leap, but I also don't think it is much at all. When you look at this team, their performance for the last 6 or 7 months, this is absolutely a playoff caliber race team. And, it's my job and everyone else's to sort of execute and make sure that we show that.
Yeah, for sure. You talk about when you look at the Xfinity schedule, there's a lot of mix surrounding a lot of track. You got ovals, short tracks, and you also got 8 road courses too. When was let me ask you this. When was the last time you went to Portland?
Portland, 2006, in the Formula TR series, which was Formula Renault. I was racing against Alexander Rossi. And he and I had some spirited battles. And in that year, out of like the 16 races I won 14. And I think I finished second in both at Portland. So I would like to change my record there and go and get first this time around. I'm quite excited for that racetrack. I loved going there. That place was really cool to me because I had watched so many champ car and kart races there. I had watched ALMS go there. When we were there in 06, ALMS was there. So I saw them up close and personal, which was super cool. And got to race on the same, after they had just run on their rubber, which was amazing. So I think so 06, but I'm very excited to go there. I think that place is super cool.
Any other tracks you're looking forward to on the schedule?
Oh my goodness. You name it. Man, I think all the road courses look exceptional. I just love the idea of doing that, where we have 8 road courses. It's gonna be amazing. What else we got? Oh, I mean, the street course is, I've had people texting me who do not watch NASCAR, who do not watch motorsports. They didn't even catch the Drive Survive fever, in the last 2-3 years, but they're texting me being like, hey, I want to be at that Chicago race. And I'm like, damn right, that's awesome. Love that. Like, that's what those things do. When people wonder why the hell we're going street course racing, that's exactly why. So I think that as an event is going to be epic. I think street course racing is so cool. I've got to dabble with it a little bit, but I'm so excited about that because I think street course racing opens up a whole new frontier for NASCAR. So I'm very excited about that one. And then what else? What else is out there that sort of sticks out to me? I mean, you've got all the super speedways, of course, and then I'm excited about the Mile and a Half. I love going to Miami. Miami has to be one of my favorite racetracks on the planet. The idea of doing that with a composite body is just so exciting to me. Las Vegas, I love running the wall there. I don't think it opened up that way in the last race there, but I feel like there's opportunity for that to happen anytime. With this composite body, I love places that, can allow you to run the wall and have that ability to touch it. And then Bristol, I mean, I've been so close in the trucks at Bristol. This is the year we're going to go get a win between Bristol Dirt and the trucks, running Bristol and Xfinity, and running Bristol Summer Race in the trucks. I feel like we can go get a win at Bristol finally.
All right. Yeah. Should be fun there. All right. Parker Kligerman, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Best of luck next season. We'll talk to you sometime before the new year. How about that?
Awesome. Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for having me on. And just looking forward to being at all these races. And if there's any fans out there listening that, are coming to those races, be sure to say hi. Let me know that you're repping us. And we're going to have some merch coming out here soon. So that's going to be pretty sweet. So stay tuned for that.